interesting to learn that dead trees don't lose their leaves. The leaves just turn brown and hang on. You see, live trees easily release their leaves when it's time, making room for next year's budding and new growth. Releasing is not passive. Letting go of that which no longer serves is a conscious act. And so we ask the question, are we ready to release and to let go? Or are we hanging on to something long after it has died, and it's just hanging around in our lives, all dead and brown and shriveled up? Let's actively let go of these things which served us in the past but are now old and worn out, whether these are relationships, things, or beliefs. We can release them in the brilliant fire of purging, allowing the cycles of life and new growth take their natural course. By letting go, we make room for the new. In fact, let us consciously affirm that we easily release and let go of anything that does not serve our great and ever greater love, life, joy, peace, and prosperity. Please join me in prayer. Allowing this collective mind, this thing called community, to go to that place of power and presence that is the everlasting life of spirit itself, ever conscious of itself, absolutely and infinitely intelligent, immersed and saturated in the essence of love. We allow that love to saturate ourselves, saturate our thoughts, saturate our beliefs, saturate our actions. And in doing so, in this present moment, we are prepared for all that is to come in this hour, this thing called worship, this thing called celebration, this thing called sharing, this thing called creative community. It is all our blessing. The music, the words, the prayer, the giving and the receiving, the acknowledgement of each person that made this hour possible. All those who have contributed their tithes and their talents and their treasures, all for this very moment, which we receive with gratitude and with knowing, saturated in love, and so it is.
Good morning. I am Reverend Linda Ketchum, and I am the founding minister of Center for Spiritual Living of Greater Cincinnati. And as many of you know, last March I stepped down to be more of a grandma than a minister. And then I got to become more of a designer than a grandmother. When I read today's topic, dead leaves do not lose their leaves, I thought, what does that mean? And then I read about dead leaves, dead trees don't lose their leaves, that they hang on. And I thought, oh my gosh, what am I hanging on to in my life? And I thought, boy, have I had to let go of a lot in the last 3 or 4 months. But what I've found is I've let go of a lot of structure, but I haven't let go of the number of things that I probably needed to let go of. And it's been real interesting, and some of you ladies will truly understand this. The thing that I am having to let go the most of is shoes. I will tell you that throwing your shoes in a garbage bag and then sticking them in a storage unit in the summer is not a good plan. They do not straighten out well. And some of them have had to make a transition to another plane. And it's, probably I should have let go of some of these before this happened. So what else have I hung on to? As we look at this, I kept thinking about the statement in the Bible in Romans, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And as we move into looking at what is it that we are hanging on to, there are so many ways that this service can go. It can go straight to forgiveness. It can go straight to releasing clutter. And it can be a combination of everything in between. Because there is so much that we hang on to. And I'm going to tell my favorite joke about letting go that many of you have heard numerous times. But it proves a point, and it is important. There was a group of golfers that went out in a couple of foursomes. And the first one goes out, and they complete their 18th hole, and they get to the 19th hole, and they're waiting on the foursome right behind them. And it's 3 hours before they show up. And they say, what happened to y'all? What took you so long? And they said, well, we were on the 5th hole, and Harry had a heart attack and dropped dead. And from then on, it was hit the ball and drag Harry. And unfortunately, there are places in many of us' lives, if not all of us' life, that we are hitting the ball and dragging Harry. Whether we do it consciously or unconsciously. And as I was preparing for this service, I kept thinking, you know, the number one thing to do today is to take people into the silence and have them ask, what am I hanging on? Concentrate and think about those qualities of life that we admire and would like to have in our life, whether they are true for us at this point or not. Because where we put our thoughts, where we put our attention, is what shows up in our lives. There's a statement that Don Miguel Ruiz made in the Four Agreements that says, if you see yourself as an artist, you can see that your life is your own creation. Then why not create the most beautiful story for yourself? Why not create the most beautiful story for yourself? Why not spend some of that time that you're spending beating yourself up, judging yourself, judging your life as lacking, concentrating on what you actually want? We are that divine essence of God expressing absolutely perfectly in our life right now. The love, the light, the joy, the peace, the wisdom, the oneness, the wholeness, the intelligence that is God, that is the Spirit, is the true truth of who you are. You are not shame. You are not guilt. You are not fear. You are not judgment. You are love, light, joy, peace, wisdom, oneness, wholeness in this moment and every moment. And when we can take the time to embody and embrace and know that God is working for us and through us in every single moment, guess what shows up? God working for us and through us in every moment. And when we judge ourselves as lacking, when we judge ourselves as less than, guess what shows up? Less than and lack. We create our lives with every thought we think. And the only person who can change the thoughts going on in your head is you. I was listening to one of Holmes's radio show. I do love the environment. But if they make plastic water bottles any thinner, it's not, we might as well be drinking out of a Ziploc bag, and it would be quieter. But when we forget the power that's the truth of who we are, we live a little life and we stay stuck. It's when we begin to spend time knowing the truth of who we are, the love, the light, the joy, the peace, the wisdom, that we begin to create the picture of what we actually want. As I was thinking about this, my oldest daughter started a new job about a month ago. And she's close enough to where her sister and I live that she comes to my daughter's house every day for lunch, and my almost 4-year-old grandson entertains her by playing the Wii. And she loves that. But her first words every time she walks in the house and as she leaves are, "I hate my job." And she swears that they don't know she hates her job. I know my daughter, she's wrong. And I told her when I heard her say it the other day, I said, you know, the only person that can change what is going on at your job is you. And if you can come into that space, in a space of love and acceptance, your whole experience will change. But it's your choice. And I've had the opportunity to listen to my mother this week, too. And I'm sure many of you will be very surprised to know that my mother is a very strong, opinionated woman. But it's really interesting to see how her mind works sometimes. She's 84 and still lives alone and does very well, but she wants a new chair. And she's at the point in her life where a chair that has a massage element and heat would be really helpful. But the only type of chair they put that in, for the most part, is a lift chair. And she does not want a lift chair because she is absolutely positive that her dad, who I was trying to calculate, and he's been gone at least 25 years, that his lift chair made him fall. Now, he was 91 when he died, and not very stable on his feet. She is not willing to even honor the possibility that they have made some improvements in the last 25 years. She is very attached to her story. So she is dragging Harry with her through this process. And I love my mother dearly, and I know that if she wasn't this strong, opinionated woman that she is, that she probably still wouldn't be sharing the planet with me. But she does get a little hung up at times. And the reason I share this is all of us do. And my question to you today is, what are you hanging on to? What are you hanging on to that no longer serves you? The reading for today in the Science of Mind magazine says, we have become a society of conscious consumers, so much so that we barely move around in our spacious homes without stumbling over boxes filled with items we have not touched in years. Less clutter allows more time to interact with family, learning new hobby, writing the book, calling mom, and yes, actually doing 10 extra push-ups. I have heard it said, and I believe it, that the United States if not the only country, but one of the few countries where we pack our garage full of the stuff we haven't looked at in 10 years and park our $50,000 car on the driveway. And even if you don't do that, some of us have closets in our house that you take your own life into your hand if you open the door. And the question is, when was the last time you used any of that stuff? The Bible says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And even more so, we are transformed by renewing the space we live in and our willingness to let go of stuff. And I'm glad my husband isn't here today. Because I do have stuff that still needs to be let go of. But we don't need so much of the stuff that we have. And it's not just the physical stuff. I think it's even more important to let go of the mental stuff. And I shared my mother's story because she is hanging on to a story that she created about a lift chair 25 years ago. And she's using that story to judge her experience now. Some of us have had less than positive relationships, either with a significant other, our children, our parents, or whatever. And something that happened in our youth, we are still using it to judge our lives now. And it's not the truth of who we are. It's not the truth of the people that we are dealing with. It is something that we have brought forward and imposed in the now when we would have been better off to have let it go many years ago. And we are the only ones who can let it go. I shared with you earlier Holmes' recommendation of spending some time every day embodying at a deeper level the qualities that you want to experience in your life. If you want to experience more honesty in your life, honesty with yourself, honesty with others, and honesties in relationship, you spend time valuing honesty. If you want to have more creativity in your life, you spend more time valuing creativity and valuing joy and love and a healthy, dynamic body. You concentrate on what it is that you want to experience, and you turn away from what it is that you do not want to experience. Jeffrey wrote a song quite a while back, I think, that he sang a couple of times lately. And one of the things he talks about is the pain in his thumb, or his hand. It's the pain in my thumb that's talking to me right now. And how he decided that that was a reminder to him that there was something to be learned or something to be healed and something to move beyond thinking about how bad his thumb hurt and to embrace and embody something better in his life. And when we look at the pain that we feel in our physical bodies, in our emotional bodies, and in our relationships, it is there to point to something that it is time to change. It is there to point to something that it is time to heal or to let go of. And to embody our oneness with Spirit at a greater level. When we read the Identity Prayer by Ernest Holmes, it says, there is a life which is perfect, complete, and divine. Within myself there is wholeness, peace, poise, and the power of life. This life is health, it is abundance, it is love. If you took this home, your life would change. Because it's not just about saying, within myself is wholeness, peace, poise, and the power of life. It's about knowing and feeling and embodying. Within myself, there is wholeness, peace, poise, and the power of life. I embody it, I accept it, and I know who I am. And that is who you are. The love, the joy, the peace, the wisdom, the creativity, the beauty, the wisdom, the intelligence that is God is bubbling up through and as you in this very moment. And all you have to do is turn on the spigot. If you are not feeling it and you are not knowing it and you are not experiencing, it is not God's problem. The abundance and the joy and the peace and the power of the universe is there as long as we are willing to turn to it, to embody it, and to allow it to bubble up through and as us. It's when we let go of the yes buts, when we let go of our own self-judgment and our own doubt, that we truly experience the life that was intended for us. We still live in a world that isn't always perfect. We live in a world where things don't go the way we want them to. And we have the opportunity to rise to a different level in our experience when we remember the truth of who we are. If we can remember that the love of joy, the life, the joy, the peace, the wisdom that is God, that is Spirit, is the truth of who we are no matter what is going on around us, it allows a lot of that stuff to just slide off and be what it was. We don't have to embody it. We don't have to carry it with us. We don't have to drag Harry. We just allow it to be and move forward. I would love to tell you that if we live these principles, that everything in our life would work perfectly. And it does to an extent, but stuff still happens. We just have a better way to deal with it, and a better way to let it go, and a better way to move forward. We don't stay stuck as long. There's a story in the Foundations class. It's one of my favorite. And I think it's the autobiography of life or something like that. And it talks in this person, it's life in 5 chapters. And the first chapter is, I was walking down the road, there was a hole, and I fell in it. Chapter 2, I'm walking down the hole, there's a hole, I fell in it, it takes me forever to get out. Third chapter, I'm walking down the road, there's a hole, I fall in it again, but it doesn't take me as long to get out. The 4th chapter, I'm walking down the road, there's a hole, and I walk around it. The 5th chapter, I take a different road. And we have that choice. There are things in our life where we keep falling in the hole. And when we use the tools that I've talked about, eventually we begin to get out of the hole quicker. And then eventually we make the choice to go around the hole. And finally, we make a totally new choice and experience life at a truly new level. We're going to do a little longer meditation than usual today because I think this is so important. Because I do want each one of us to take an opportunity to see where in our lives are we the dead tree? Where in our lives are we dragging Harry? Or whatever his or her name was. And what is it time to let go of? What is it time to focus on the love, the joy, the peace, the wisdom that is the truth of who we are? So I want to start this meditation by us saying together, and I'll read it and then we'll say it together. I easily release and let go of anything that does not serve my greater love, life, joy, peace, and abundance. I easily release and let go of anything that does not serve my greater love, life, joy, peace, and abundance. One more time. I easily release and let go of anything that does not serve my greater love, life, joy, peace, and abundance. breath and get comfortable in your chair and ask yourself, what is it time to let go of? What is it time to have a different experience? Where is it time to let go of Harry? And when you see that person, that situation, that old relationship, that old job, that old boss, children, parents, whatever it is, begin to bring that person or situation into your heart. And surround it with love. Surround it with peace. Knowing that this is love and peace for you. Love and peace for your highest good. For your divine hopes. When you're ready, silently say, I love you, I bless you, I release you to your highest and best good. I am free. And now allow every fiber of your being to be filled with the awareness of God working through you as love, light, joy, peace, wisdom, creativity, intelligence, peace. And allow that to fill every fiber of your being, especially the place in your being where you have released whatever it is you chose to release. And just feel the wholeness that is the truth of who you are. And allow a smile to fill your face as you feel the ease that is God, that is Spirit in this moment. There is a power in the universe greater than we are, and we are using it in every moment. And we take this time, this opportunity today to know that we are using it to allow the peace, the wisdom, the love, the light, the joy, the oneness that is God, that is Spirit, to breathe our breath and beat our hearts, to allow the oneness of God to be the truth of the day for each of us in this moment and every moment. And as I know this is true for me, I know it is true for each of these loved ones. I know it is true for every being on this planet, that the oneness of God, of Spirit, is manifesting through and as each one of us. Is love, light, joy, peace, wisdom, abundance, creativity, peace, power, love, here, now, and always. Through our physical bodies, through our spiritual being, and through all of our relationships. In every element of our being, the oneness of God is permeating us in this moment. We feel it, we know it, and we are it. And knowing that we are alive, that we are free, that we are breathing, feeling, loving, joy-filled, dynamic beings. We embody this at every level of our being, and we say, thank you, God. And knowing it is good and knowing it is done, in gratitude and thanksgiving, I lovingly release these words to Spirit. And so it is.
do.